My name is Monica Henderson, and I am here with two very special guests. We are ready to talk some shit. Are you? Joining me on this podcast today, I have two very special people. I have Kenny and Megan, and we are just going to kind of get into it. Um, First of all, welcome to the podcast. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, so question, comments, rude remarks is really an opportunity for us to kind of, I don't know, call bullshit on some things that are going on in the world, and have a very candid conversation about what that is. One of the topics that I like to talk about is kind of um, how about leadership, right? And how leadership sometimes um, can really not be leading very well. Let's just say we're all kind of experiencing some interesting leadership levels on all levels of our lives. And so I'd like to dive into that really quick. But before we do so, I'd like to ask both of you to give an opportunity for the audience to get to know you just a little bit. So I'm going to give you, Kenny, first a shot. Can you just share a little bit about you and where you're coming from in the world?
Oh, yeah, again, thanks for having me on. I'm coming from Salt Lake City, Utah. I've born and raised in Utah. It's my home, and been in business in the financial services industry for over 10 years, and that's a little snapshot about me.
Okay, perfect. I love that. And thank you, Megan. What about you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, I'm Megan Palmquist, the owner of the Solopreneur COO. I'm here in sunny Ventura, California, and I have been a fractional COO and systems strategist for the last 17 years on and off, but 7 years just really helping small business owners figure out all their things.
I love that. Okay, so here's my rude remark. And you can call bullshit if you like. But I feel as though when it comes to how we are approaching our lives, that where we end up in our station in life, for the most part, it's our fault. How we got here is our fault. Are you calling bullshit? Or are you calling it a brilliant system? And if so, why? So who would like to go first? Megan, would you like to go first? Is it bullshit? Or is it a brilliant system?
I think it's a brilliant system. I think we really are in control of it. I really do think that we can take the handle and just pivot in whatever way we need to. And if you ended up in a spot in your life that you're not happy with, then redirect it. And you're not stuck there. And so I think that's why I'm not calling BS, because we are in control of it. We can make those changes. I think it's just a matter of how much you want to put up with of not being okay with.
Love that. What about you, Kenny? Are you calling bullshit or are you calling brilliant system?
Well, I can't say I'm calling BS because it could stand for both of them. So, but I am going to say it's brilliant because, like Megan just said, we are in control. We have to pivot. We got to roll with the punches, if you will. And I believe some of the best road trips are on the detours.
Oh, best road trips are on a detour. I actually kind of feel like most of our lives is on a detour. You know how they always say, you plan and God laughs? Like, I feel like there are so many times in my life, right, where I felt like I was planning something and the universe was like, that's cute. Hold my beer. Let me show you how this really is done. So, yeah, I 100% agree on that. So as a person who both of you guys kind of work with business owners and you kind of like work with people who have essentially found themselves in a position in which they do not want to be in, right? Like they're like, how the fuck did I get here? I'm here and I want my way out. Like, what is the way that you actually kind of support them in an exit strategy of getting them from where they are to where they want to go? Kenny, you wanna go first this time?
Yeah, mine focuses a lot in the habits and how they got there, and their beliefs. If they don't believe they can get to clear to point Z, they're never going to get to point Z or the destination. But if we can get them to the next mile marker, if they believe they can take the step to the next mile marker, then we'll focus on the next mile marker, and then when we get to that mile marker, we'll focus on the next one. So if you're trying to drown them, if you will, with the whole road trip, with the whole map, we're never going to get anywhere, and they've got to want it. I can talk to them till I'm blue in the face, but if they don't want it, or if they're more comfortable in their habits than they are wanting to change, then no amount of what I do is going to help them.
Yeah. Megan, what do you think about what he's saying?
I mean, I agree. I do think that there is a self-accountability piece that comes with any of this change, right? And I would say for a lot of the clients that I'm working with, a lot of them don't know what they don't know. And so a huge part of being stuck with where they're at is because they truly don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They don't know what their options are. They don't know if there's a better way of doing something, and if so, how. And so a lot of what I'm doing is just bringing awareness and education and saying, you're doing it this way because you've figured it out, right? You're running your business based off of the school of trial and error, which I commend you for. But you don't have to keep struggling every single step of the way. Here's all the better alternatives for you. But to Kenny's point, it's then on them to take those alternatives, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink of it all. I don't know. I think I spend a lot of time with people who are in disbelief that life can be easy.
Yeah. That's a
A lot of
societal problem, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It is plausible that
Yes.
life. Actually, let me rephrase that. It's not that life can be easy, but it can be simple, right? It can be simple, and it is, and everything is tangible. However, sometimes when it's so simple that they kind of like complicate things, if you will, with some self-sabotaging behaviors that make it a little bit harder than it has to be, and it really didn't have to be that hard. Do you guys find that that's something that happens with you when you're working with your client?
All the time. But I think it goes back to what we're used to, right? We're used to the constant chaos. I'm talking to myself here with this. We're used to being busy. We're used to doing all the things. We're used to waiting for the shoe to drop. And so it's like when things are going well or easy or simple, it feels wrong.
Yeah.
You're not used to that.
Yeah.
And so just kind of being okay with that discomfort.
Yeah. So I guess my next rude question is, there's lots of people who think that the system is not designed for them to actually succeed. Do you call the bandit for Kenny, because I know he doesn't want to cut? Do you call the bandit or the brilliant system? What do you think? Is this not the system? The statement that the system is not designed for me to be successful, is that the bandit or a brilliant system?
I'd say both.
Mm.
Because if in one regard, depending on the system, it's BS, but on the other hand, there's multiple systems. If you're not into whatever car, you pick a car that you don't care for, but that's somebody else's bread and butter, they love that car or whatever, your path is over here, their path is over here. There might be a different system, if you will, or a different path that they can take, that we don't always have to follow the exact same path.
I call brilliant system on that answer. Megan, what do you think? Brilliant system or bandit?
I really feel that I agree with Kenny. It is a mix, but the mix is also like going back to that very first question. You get to pick which system you would deal with. And so if you do feel like the situation you're in is against you or you're never going to win in that, then why are you staying in that path?
Mm.
I also it's like a game to play. Do you want to play that game? If you don't want to play that game, then what other game do you want to play? Because it is all how you work through it, right? There's
Yeah.
always going to be struggles. There's always going to be some things that come easier than others. But which one do you want to deal with? And how hard do you want to fight for it?
Yeah, I think personally, I feel like the placing the blame on the system is actually the failure, right? It's only when we can take ownership of our part of every system, right? Everything that we touch or are part of, especially once we're consenting adults in our own world, right? Like a lot of it, I mean, there's not much you can do as a child, right? When you're kind of like growing up in different systems that may or may not have been designed with your success in mind. It's one thing to have that. It's another thing to, as an adult, sit back and say, well, the system isn't designed for my success, so I'm just going to take it or just exist in the system in the way that it is, right? I call bullshit on that mindset. That particular mindset is actually the reason why we can't be prosperous. It's why we can't even see the perspective that there is another option, because we've decided to just accept what is happening and saying that it's happening to us instead of us being an act of co-creation. But I'd like to put this rude remark out there. Inaction is a choice as well.
Absolutely. Agreed.
Right? Like if you choose not to do anything, you're also choosing something in that concept of choosing. So you can call it rude if you like, but that is we're all co-creators here on the planet, and we choose to co-create relationships and things of that sort. And the reason why this conversation is really important is because a lot of people are having this conversation about the government and the way that our country, our states, our cities, our communities are being ran. And there's this big finger pointing of like, they are not doing enough to make things better. And I sometimes feel as though that's kind of a cop-out, right? Because if you haven't done anything in the process to try and make your life better, right? To try and make your community better, to try and make your city better, your state better, your country better, then you sitting there with your finger pointing, you are a part of the problem, right? And so that's my big rude remark about like this comment or this conversation about like the government needs to do better, the city needs to do better, communities needs to do better. And it's true, they do need to do better, but like also like what are you doing about it? Are you actually participating? Are there some ways that you guys have decided that you were going to take ownership of your own existence, your own world, and change it for the better so that you could actually improve your own life?
I think for me, it's been creating my business and running my business on my terms. And if you look at the way that my business is structured and the way that I conduct business, it's not the status norm. It's not fitting all of the guru's boxes for how I do things. It's certainly not fitting all of the shoulds. However, it is 100% fitting the life that I want to live.
Mm.
And that is my choice. I get to do that. And I get to decide how much money I want to bring in and what are the ways I want to do that. And some of the ideas that I had are flops, and you learn from them. And some I'm like, dang, this is the path. This is the way to go. And it feels so fulfilling to not only hit those income marks or whatever those goals might be, but to actually be pursuing the life the way I want is the most fulfilling thing.
Yes.
And that spills over to everybody around me, right? Like they're like, oh, that's possible. You could do that. Like, you can go on a cruise every month. What? That you could do that? You're not retired. I'm like, who said that you had to be retired? Like, why is that a thing? And so that's how I'm changing the game. And by doing that, I'm showing people that they can change the game.
Yeah. It sounds
Right?
like you decided to redefine what success looks like to you, and what and how to get there, like redefining the steps on how to get to success for yourself.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. Kenny, what about you? Was there anything that you were just like, I'm just going to own this, I'm going to take it over, I'm going to make this, I'm going to create this change?
Yeah, absolutely. And I've got a couple thoughts. My first thought is, who's the ultimate decider of when you talked about the government not doing a good job, who decides what the good job is?
Mm.
You know, if you've got pink in your background, Megan, you've got a tree in your background, Monica, I've got a whiteboard in mine, who's to say who's right or wrong or not? So what does a good job look like? We all have our different opinions, and that's where a lot of this comes from, I think. But on that same thing, to go along with what Megan is, creating that ripple from an individual and going up to my neighbors, to my community and stuff, where like government, it goes to the government, then the community, then the individual. I'm just going in reverse. Like what Megan was saying, if you can affect these people positively, then they'll affect these people, then they'll affect these people. And then again, going back to that awareness and that possibility and that mindset thinking and change, you can do that. That's possible. But whoa, what am I missing? What else am I missing?
Yeah, I love that. Well, you just basically said that you're the pebble, right? Like you're the pebble in the pond. And in order for there to be a ripple, I got goosebumps. In order for there to be a ripple effect outward to those bigger institutions that we're talking about, like are governing wrong, right? It starts with you, right? And you're kind of creating that ripple from where you are and affecting change in the people around you, who will affect the change in their neighborhood, who will affect change in the government. I think if more people had that point of view about how to create change in the world, like both of you guys are kind of saying the same thing, right? Like you're like, I start with me, and if I can start with me and affect change in my own life and in the people that I serve, like Megan was saying, even in the people who she serves in her business, then that ripple effect can change. I low key 100% agree with both of you all, because I feel like I was born a free Black woman and I will die a free Black woman. And in order to do that, I actually have to own all of the decisions that are happening in my life. So every health choice that I make, every financial choice that I make, every business choice that I make, every friendship choice that I make, right? Even how I interact with my own family, all of those choices are choices that do have that ripple effect, and can like boop, 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 like and affect other people. I even think as much as my interactions on the street with people. I live in downtown Los Angeles, which most people know we have an interesting unhoused population here, and how I create that change, because I do some work with some city organizations. But one of the things that people ask all the time is like, you live in downtown Los Angeles, you don't get tired of having people who are unhoused around you, you don't feel unsafe and all those other things. And I'm like, no, actually I don't. And this is my forever neighborhood. And the reason why I don't leave is because this is my forever neighborhood, right? Someone has to be here to actually create the change that we want to see in this neighborhood, right? But I also have decided that everybody in this neighborhood who lives here, including the people who are living on the street, are my neighbors, right? Like they actually are residents of my neighborhood, and I should treat them as such, right? I should have the same kind of respect for them that I have for the person who lives in the penthouse in the building next to me, right? And so when I see them on the street, if they are in this dimension and actually acknowledging my existence, I acknowledge theirs as well. I give them the respect of space, just like I give the respect of everyone else. and I honor them when they have requests, just like I would honor anybody else who has a request. And if I decide that I don't want to honor that request, and in a way of like agreeing to what they're requesting, then I just do it politely, just like I would do someone who was in the penthouse next to me, right? If you're like, hey, come up to my apartment and check out my view. I don't know you, man. No, thank you, sir. But thanks for the offer. And I keep it pushing, right? It's kind of the same experience if someone's like, hey, do you want to, would you have some change? No, no, I'm sorry, sir, not today. I don't have the availability for that. One, I never carry cash, but also two, like I don't have that. So like really kind of taking the time to just like really bring back community and humanity, and treating everybody in my neighborhood like they're actual neighbors, because they are, whether they sleep inside of a building or they sleep on side of the sidewalk, doesn't change anything for me, in the way that I execute that conversation. But what that does, though, is at any point, if there's a support system that I'm aware of, they may be more amicable to actually receiving the help from someone who isn't looking down on them and saying like, oh, well, you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps and this, that, or the other. Because to be honest, any one of us could end up there. We could have a mental break. We could have a financial break. We could have any kind of break and end up in those kinds of places. And so for me, when people are like, well, the government is running things wrong, two things can be true at the same time. Yeah, there are probably things that they could do better that would help more people. And also, regardless of what they're doing, I have a responsibility to my neighbors to actually treat them like neighbors. So I wholeheartedly agree with both of y'all. And that's kind of the way that I have kind of created a little bit of change in my own world, so that we can kind of create this ripple effect. And I have some like bigger projects that I work in my neighborhood as well too, but that right there, I think, is something that all of us are talking about, something that everyone can do no matter where you are, in what city, right? Like Megan saying like, hey, how I affect change is by supporting people in my business. Everybody can do that, right? Whether you are a cashier who is ranking up people, you have the ability to change someone's mood. Who can say you could probably save a domestic violence experience by having a little kindness in that very space, from someone who maybe had just sat through a bunch of traffic and got cut off and had a whole horrible day at work. Like even just that politeness in whatever you do, that humanity that you're bringing into your businesses and the way that you handle people is that way, and being really aware, like Kenny was saying, of that you are the ripple in the pond. And so just as that ripple can be a positive ripple, it can also be a negative ripple as well. And so being careful about how you're rippling the world could be a really useful place. Oh, look at that. We ended up on a really nice note, right? Okay, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to say if you have any questions, comments, or rude remarks, Kenny, let me know. So are there any questions, comments, or rude remarks you'd like to throw out there?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Well, how can people get in touch with you, Kenny, if they want to spend more time with you or learn more about your business?
Oh, yeah, thank you for that. Very simply, my website is the easiest place, is ingersollenterprises.com. They can find all my contact, all my info. So thank you.
Yeah, you can digitally stalk him as how it's spelled on his name, enterprises.com. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay, perfect. And Megan, what about you? Is there any questions, comments, or rude remarks you'd like to throw out there yourself?
Sure. I would love to say that running a business does not have to be as hard as people make it.
Yes. Here.
That's my blunt statement of the day.
Okay. I love that. And how can, if people want to digitally stalk you or get in contact with you, how can they do that?
On all socials, the Solopreneur COO. It's listed there below my name. And I'm on everything from LinkedIn to YouTube to Instagram. And I am sharing the actual tangible ways to make life simpler using technology, not being afraid of it, and actually using the things that you're already paying for, not selling any new systems or new software.
Yeah, more of that, please. I just want to say that I want to give a shout out to Mary. Mary, I don't know if you can put her name up there on the screen. Mary says, "Hey everyone," she's actually watching from Facebook. And so I just wanted to give her a shout out. Thank you for watching us and hanging out. And if you have a question, comment, or remark, make sure you throw that in the chat as well. This has been a lovely little chat. Thank you guys so much for coming on and taking a chance. Because I know the title, questions, comments, remarks, anything can happen. But I love having intelligent conversations that look at the duality of situations, because a lot of the times when we are thinking that it is a rude remark, sometimes it's just being honest. With that, I want to say thank you both to my guest for coming on and hanging out with me today. And if you want to continue to check us out, you can hit like, subscribe, or comment from whatever platform you are hitting, as we all want to continue to work with you and chat with you and be in conversation with you. With that, thank you so very much for joining us today on Questions, Comments, Rude Remarks. And with that, I say bye-bye. Come on.